Hi everybody, welcome to my new YouTube channel dedicated to Formula One. So a little bit about me before we get started on the video. I've been watching Formula One for about 30 years now. Some of my earliest childhood memories are sitting in front of the TV on Sunday morning watching Formula One race with my dad. And ever since then I've watched every race that's been on. So the reason why I'm starting this channel is because I want to reach out to more people who are fans of F1. You know, I live in the US, I live in Los Angeles, hence the name LAF1 of the channel. Even though, Netflix has done a lot to promote Formula One with their Drive to Survive, there's still not that many people I know or I see that are true fans of Formula One to the point where I am, where they'd actually watch every practice session, qualifying, and race session. And most of the people I know are just casual fans. They've watched the series and they're interested in watching a race or two, but not really as dedicated as I am or some other people are on YouTube. So I really want to start this channel to get a discussion going and hopefully one day work with some other YouTubers who make these same kind of videos and kind of just get my opinions out there and maybe be a source that people come to hear my opinions or hear reviews or things like that. So that's what I plan on doing. So hopefully let's see what happens. So on to the main video now. Here's a Bahrain qualifying reaction plus season predictions. For me, this season 2022 with the new regulations, it's going to mix up the field and hopefully it's going to be one hell of a season. I've been waiting for this season for the past, ever since they announced the new regulations, and hopefully it's going to be an improvement on the previous few seasons and it's going to be a lot more competitive and a lot more exciting to watch. So the first team we're talking about is Ferrari. We have Charles Leclerc starting P1, Carlos Sainz starting P3. It's fantastic to see Ferrari back on the top. It's great for the team, it's great for the sport, it's great for the drivers. When you think of Formula One, you think of Ferrari, and you have to have Ferrari at the top of the field. That's just how it has to be. The Ferrari power unit looks like a rocket this year. All the teams using Ferrari power units have at least one car in the top 10. And that's, just goes to show how much improvement they made on that power unit over the past few years. I also can't wait to see the race pace of the Ferrari versus, let's say, the Red Bull or Mercedes, and see how fast they actually are in a race situation. Hopefully they can still keep that same competitive speed. One thing I hope Ferrari improves on from previous years is their race strategy. Back in 2017, 2018, they had the fastest car, but they weren't able to secure the Drivers' or Constructors' Championship due to, maybe some driver errors, but also a lot of team strategy errors. So hopefully they have a handle on that. And I think the biggest problem for Ferrari this year is going to be the drivers. In terms of, I think both Leclerc and Sainz are alpha drivers in terms of, in their minds, they're both number one drivers, and I don't think either one of them wants to accept a number two role or like a wingman role. So if this is going to be a constant, I believe if this is going to be a constant struggle throughout the year, it's really going to affect their chances of either driver being driver's champion. So hopefully they can work something out, they can figure something out, and they can work together as a team to win a championship for both a driver and a constructor. On to Red Bull. Verstappen P2, Perez P4. It looks like the Red Bull is just as fast as the Ferrari. They look like they're very evenly matched, and it should be exciting to see how they challenge each other for the rest of the season. For me, Red Bull, it seems like business as usual. They have one of the fastest cars. They're going to continue as they were last year, trying to be the fastest, trying to win everything, so not much has changed for them. One good thing about Red Bull, which was the same as last year, they have a clear number one driver in Verstappen and a number two driver in Perez. The team knows that Verstappen is going to be their title contender, and Perez is there to help any way he can to win, to help Max win the championship and also help Red Bull win the Constructors' Championship. So I think that's a better balance of drivers compared to Ferrari. Obviously, we want to see both drivers fighting for wins, but in Formula One, the most successful teams have had a number one driver and number two driver. So I think Red Bull's in a better place than Ferrari in this sense. Also, in terms of the qualifying, it's good to see Perez in P4, but I still think he needs to close the gap to Verstappen, Leclerc, and Sainz in qualifying, just to kind of, just in case, let's say Mercedes picks up their game or another team picks up their game, we might see Perez qualifying P6 or P7, so he has to really step up his game and always try to be in the top 4 in qualifying. Also, I'm sure his race pace is probably going to be better than his qualifying pace, but let's see tomorrow and let's see how it goes. So I'm hoping for a close fight between Red Bull and Ferrari tomorrow. On to Mercedes. We have Hamilton starting P5, Russell starting P9. I think everyone watching this qualifying session was just as shocked as I was. I think everyone thought Mercedes was sandbagging and they were going to come out guns blazing in this session and go, first or second or something like that. But it really does look like the Mercedes is a handful to drive, not easy to drive. Doesn't really inspire confidence for the drivers, and looks like the best they can do is, probably about third fastest car on the grid. Also, it looks like the Mercedes power unit is not the strongest power unit anymore. Looks like Ferrari has taken the top spot along with Honda, or I guess Red Bull Powertrains, whatever it's called now. And I think Mercedes needs to possibly figure out how to get back up there, because the only Mercedes powered team that's in the top 10 is Mercedes. All their customer teams are below top 10. So I don't know what happened there, but they got to figure that out. Also, I'm sure, Mercedes in a couple of races, they'll close up the gap to Ferrari and Red Bull. I don't think they'll be at their level of speed, but they will considerably close up the gap. And I'm sure by the European season or the midway point of the season, Mercedes will be up there fighting for wins and podiums with Ferrari and Red Bull. And also, it's very important for Mercedes, if they want any chance of winning any championship, to do damage limitation and try to collect as many points as they can in these early rounds until they develop the car to be competitive with Ferrari and Red Bull. Also, a big thing for me is Russell needs to really prove himself this season. He has to show the team and everyone watching that he's no wingman, he's no number 2 driver. He has to push himself to be as fast as Hamilton throughout the season to show everyone that he is the next Mercedes champion after Hamilton retires this year, next year, whenever he wants to retire. So, big year for Russell. I'm excited to see how it does against Hamilton. I think they'll be pretty evenly matched. I think Hamilton will have the better of him throughout the first few races, but I think after Russell gets used to the car and kind of gets used to the way Mercedes does everything, I think Russell will be right up there with Hamilton, and they'll be, neck and neck in terms of performance. So should be exciting to see how that pans out for the rest of the year. Next up, we have Alfa Romeo with Bottas in P6 and Guan Yu Zhou, or Zhou Guan Yu, in P15. Still got to figure that one out. Really excited to see Alfa Romeo up in Q3, and really excited to see Bottas in Q3 right behind Hamilton. I think all of us thought by Bottas going to Alfa Romeo was kind of the, end for him, but hopefully he can take this new opportunity and just run with it and make this team in the upper end of the midfield. Will be pretty awesome to see, and hopefully a lot of Q3 appearances for Bottas in the future will be awesome too. Also, I think maybe the Alfa Romeo has some competitive advantage over some other cars because of the Ferrari power unit. We'll just have to wait and see how the season pans out for them. Also, the Alfa looks fast, but what about in a race distance? Because this hasn't been the most reliable car in preseason testing, so hopefully they've sorted out any of the transmission issues or anything else they have, so they could hopefully continue in this trajectory and hopefully finish this race with some good points. Don't really know much about Guan Yu Zhou. It's his first race, so he still has to adapt to the cars, the team, and all the procedures and stuff like that. But I'm sure in a few races he'll improve quite a bit. And if this really is Alfa Romeo's true pace, with Bottas being in P6, that's amazing job for them. Good job, and hopefully we see some great things from Alfa Romeo this year. Now we have Haas, Magnussen P7, Mick Schumacher P12. And wow, what a difference 1 year makes. I mean, if you were to tell me at the end of last year that a Haas would qualify P7 in the opening round of 2022, I would have said, get out of here. You're dreaming. But we're here. That's where Magnussen qualified. Fantastic for the team. Clearly, it was the right choice to not develop a 2021 car and develop a 2022 car. I know last year was really difficult for Haas, and hopefully this year they make up for that, and they are, hopefully they're at the front of the midfield and, challenging in Q3 and challenging for a good haul of points each race. It's fantastic to see Magnussen qualify P7 on his return. You know, just like everyone else, I maybe thought maybe Magnussen wasn't the right choice for this for the open seat, but after thinking about it, you know, Magnussen has experience with the team. He has experience with the power unit. He knows how the team works. So it just makes sense that they bring him back. And obviously, he was the right choice. And great to see Schumacher in Q2. I think he'll be a regular in Q2 along with Magnussen. Hopefully, they'll be able to push into Q3 more often than not. Also, for this race, they need a good, clean race, good haul of points for the team to get them set up for the rest of the season. Hopefully, their car can keep developing and stay competitive in the midfield and not drop down to the lower end of the midfield. They also, hopefully, their car is reliable. I know they had some issues. Hopefully, they can sort that out. So, again, they can get that haul of points that they can get now since other teams are struggling. So, it should be exciting to see what Haas can do. Hopefully, they can turn their fortunes around and have a good season this season. Now on to Alpine. Alonso P8, Ocon P11. Was L planned to just be in the same position as last year? Because it just seems like they're on the same wavelength. They haven't really improved. They haven't really gone down. They're kind of at the same level as they were last year, right in the middle of all the other teams. You know, kind of disappointed that there wasn't anything special in the car. They weren't hiding any extra speed or anything. Hopefully, you know, they can keep developing this car to push themselves to be up with Mercedes and Red Bull and Ferrari. It would be amazing to see Alonso fighting with, you know, Hamilton and Verstappen and Leclerc and Sainz on a more regular basis. It's key for Alpine to keep developing this car and understanding how it works and make it faster and faster throughout the season. But, you know, if this is Alpine's true pace, then I think it's going to be kind of a repeat of last year. And hopefully this season's a building block for next season to have an even faster and better car. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how this season pans out for Alpine. Now we're on to AlphaTauri. Gasly P10, Yuki Tsunoda P16. And honestly, I'm shocked at this result. Based on the preseason testing and the practice sessions, I would have thought AlphaTauri would have had 2 cars in Q3, but you know, Gasly barely got in. Also, I think Yuki Tsunoda really needs to step up his game. I think he needs to hit the ground running this season so he can, you know, towards the end of last season, he was doing a lot better. He got his P4 at the end of at the last race of the season. So I think he needs to continue building on that level because I think this is a make or break season for Yuki. I think if he doesn't end up being at Gasly's level by the end of the season and bringing in a good haul of points, I'm afraid he may be sacked at the end of the season and maybe, you know, AlphaTauri will bring in one of the young hot Red Bull drivers to replace him. So hopefully he can turn his fortunes around. I'm sure he can. You know, he's in this team for a reason, and hopefully, at least for tomorrow's race, Gasly can make up a few places and bring home a good haul of points for the team. And hopefully Yuki can, you know, work his way up maybe to 10th or 9th and get a few points too. So let's just hope that the AlphaTauri has a lot better race pace than they do qualifying pace, but we'll have to see tomorrow. Now on to McLaren. Lando Norris P13, Daniel Ricciardo P18. What the hell happened to McLaren? You know, watching the preseason testing, you would think McLaren had a pretty fast car, but they have some fundamental issues with that car, whether it's the brakes or aero. I don't know what it is, but you know, I'm sure they can sort out whatever issues they have. Hopefully they can sort it out sooner than later. I think if they don't get these issues sorted out anytime soon, we may not see McLaren in the top 5 in the Constructors' Championship, so which is really disappointing because they're going on a good trajectory over the past few years. So I would hope they would stay at least 3rd or 4th in the championship. So hopefully they can turn their fortunes around. Disappointed to see Ricciardo in P18, but then again, he missed all of testing last week at Bahrain, so not really surprised that he's not as fast as Lando, but in P18, that is kind of a surprise. And also, I think this year for Daniel Ricciardo is going to be your make or break season again. You know, last year he wasn't really up to speed, but it's a new team, new engine, so you know, you cut him some slack there, but he was nowhere compared to Lando. So I think this year he really has to step up his game. I know he's capable of stepping up his game. I know he's capable of being just as fast, if not faster than Lando Norris. It's just he has to find that speed within himself. And I think if he doesn't, and if he's far behind Lando again this season, I would think McLaren would start looking at other, young drivers that they can bring into the team and groom like they did Lando to kind of have a stronger lineup for the future. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Ricciardo will be able to turn his season around and be right up there with Lando. I mean, it's Daniel Ricciardo. He makes miracles happen. So hopefully we can see him challenging Lando for good positions, and hopefully McLaren can turn their car around and be up there with Mercedes and be one of the top constructors like they are. Next up, we have Williams. Alex Albon on his return, P14, and Nicholas Latifi, P20. Awesome job for Alex Albon to get this car into Q2 on his first outing. It just goes to show you that he is a quality driver and he is as good as all his peers say he is. He took this car and did basically what George Russell would do with this car and outperform it and outdrive it. Fantastic for him. Unfortunately, it looks like Williams may be the slowest car this season this year. I would have thought that they would have made some progress, but I guess maybe they haven't. I think Williams really needs to develop and understand this car and this design philosophy. And I don't know. I think if Williams can't really get more out of this car in the next few rounds, maybe they should think of this season as a test and development season like Haas did last year and really make a monster for next year. And maybe that's what they're going to do. Maybe that's what they should do. I don't know. Or maybe this is just a bad race, and maybe next race they'll be up in Q2, both of them. So we'll see. But, disappointed at Williams, but honestly not that surprised. But, for the sake of the drivers, hopefully the team can turn their fortunes around. And last up, we have Aston Martin. Nico Hülkenberg on his one-off return, P17, and Lance Stroll, P19. I definitely wouldn't want to be in the same room as Daddy Stroll after this qualifying session. I can't imagine what's going through his mind when he saw both cars eliminated in Q1 and seeing the Haas's are faster than him and faster than them and other teams. I mean, I don't know if they got their design wrong or maybe the power unit's not up to par. I don't know what's wrong with the car. It looks like a nice car. It's definitely one of the prettier cars in the field, but that doesn't make a difference when it comes to speed. So hopefully they can sort out whatever issues they have and be up where they should be. I don't expect them to be at the head of the midfield, but right in the middle of the midfield I think is where they should be, but they're not. Also, the one good thing to take out of this is that, Nico Hülkenberg still has it. He hasn't lost his touch, to jump into a brand new car with new regulations and beat his teammate Lance Stroll, who has had much more seat time in the car with preseason testing and whatnot. It really says something about Nico Hülkenberg. And, I think maybe Aston Martin should really think about having two drivers that can really develop a car and understand the car. They have Sebastian Vettel, which unfortunately has COVID, so he's sitting out this race. But, I'm sure Vettel can really help develop and understand and, build a better race car with his team and engineers. And I think Hülkenberg can probably, do that too. I think with both their experience, they can, really help Aston Martin make this car faster and make it better. But if, Daddy Stroll is running the team, there's always going to be a seat for Lance Stroll. So unfortunately, I think that might hinder them, but hopefully they can, sort out their issues and they can be back up in the midfield and fighting for points on a regular basis. It's a shame to see a brand like Aston Martin so low down in the field, and hopefully they can turn their fortunes around. So those are my Bahrain qualifying reactions plus season predictions for 2022. I'm really happy these new regulations changed up the pecking order of the field, and hopefully we get some more surprises in the next few races and qualifying or practice sessions. I will be making more videos after each, qualifying and race, and kind of filling you guys in of what I think is happening behind the scenes, or, what I see or what I think with my perspective. And, guys, please like and subscribe and stay tuned, and let's get a discussion going. Why don't you guys let me know in the comments below what you think of each team, or what you think is going to happen tomorrow in the race or throughout the season, and let's see what happens. Let's enjoy the season all together, and, let's make something special here. Anyway, take care, everyone. See you guys tomorrow after the race for my reactions, and have a good night. Take care. Bye.